it's Jessica with Keller Williams in Layton, Utah. I service the Davis County area, but I also have contacts across the world. So if you are looking to buy or sell, I'd love to hear from you. But I'm also excited to introduce you to Nick Calaway. He's with Intermountain West Contractors,
yes.
But they specialize in roofing.
Correct. Yeah.
So tell me again a little bit about that difference between the contractor roofer.
Okay, so when we started the business, we did contract a lot more stuff out there, but now we've really narrowed ourselves down to roofing because we're the roofing expert. We want to do what we're best at this point. So
good, very good. Well, I'm excited. We're going to get into this. He's going to give us some tips, since on my roof we're going to be looking at. So don't judge me, right? You guys always know I say that, but I look forward to some questions too. And as you can see, like, tell me about that. I don't know if it's like leaking. We've had some leak before. What do you suggest with that?
So around the base of the chimney, you can, just by looking at it, the flashing you can tell is old up there. That is kind of the old school thinking and the old school way of doing flashing around the chimney. Nowadays it's done completely different, where we do use similar metal, but then there's actually a secondary piece that we put over the top of it. So functionally it works better, and then also aesthetically as well, it looks a lot better with that also. So very common to see on older homes that's how it is, but again, that's because that's the old school way, of thinking about that. So
yeah, and again, we know that we need to get this replaced, so I'm not surprised that you would say it's just because it's old-fashioned, out of date, and not as functional as what you guys have now. The technology's changed,
yes,
and you're able to update and have a tighter seal, I'm guessing?
Correct, yeah.
So what would be the difference from the time this roof was put on? What material has changed?
So we used to use tar paper underneath the shingles. I'm sure most people have heard of that before. We don't touch that stuff anymore. It's garbage. It breaks down over time. It's not really functionally that great as well. So now we use what's called ice and water shield. Ice and water shield is actually a sticky membrane that seals itself down to the plywood. And that's made a huge difference with being able to seal up areas, where you have penetrations and that type of stuff, because this stuff actually will lay itself down and completely seal around those areas.
Oh.
So now we run that along all the edges of the roof, but then also along where the roof meets the walls as well, to help keep that sealed up.
And about when did that start happening? If someone's looking at their roof and saying, my roof's 5 years, 10 years, about what time did you guys make the transition from tar paper to now this
to ice and water shield?
Ice and water shield?
So it was around the 2000s is when it became more popular. If I remember right, it was around 2005 is when it became a building code requirement. So not only is it for just functionally, but just of all local building code.
Well, if it's a building code, it's that way for a reason,
yes, yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So 2005 and newer, I don't need to worry about it. If I was 2005 and older, how would I know the distinction that I have that? Do I need to call a professional to come look, or is there some telltale signs?
Yeah, if you don't know what you're looking for, then it would be super hard to know. So you're most better off to call a professional and have them check to see if you have that. All we have to do is just look along the edges of the roof, and we can tell you pretty quick if it's something that you have or you don't have. Because tar paper and ice and water shield look the same, a lot of people could look at it and be like, oh yeah, I have it, where just because it looks the same doesn't mean it's the same.
Okay.
So, and it's even installed differently on the roof versus what tar paper was installed as well.
Very good. Okay, so a higher quality product, it's not just to sell for the sake of selling, and then actual building code. There's two really big reasons why, and that it works better.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more durable as well.
Yeah, 100% better. Yeah.
Okay, well then we've learned one really good thing about tar paper versus ice and
water shield.
Yep. And now we want to talk a little bit about the gutters. So we're going to be right back. We're going to movie magic. All right, so now we've moved over to my front porch, and the one thing that I've learned that I feel always bad about is when it's raining like today, and I have someone come to the front door, and we'll be talking at the front door, and it's dripping on them. I know that's a problem. Tell me what I can be doing different, what I can be watching for that maybe we shouldn't have let it get this far.
So as a part of the roofing system, that drip edge that we talked about, that drip edge is there to actually make it so your gutters can tuck up behind that. So it's a seamless flow of water coming off the roof right into the gutter. Now, sometimes over time with the old school gutters, you have just a gutter spike. That gutter spike will actually work its way out of the roof, which causes your gutters to tip.
Oh.
And when it tips, you lose that seamless flow of the water. So, and then in turn it will leak behind it and then drip on a front porch, which then in the wintertime, I'm sure you have some ice problems, and that type of stuff. So new gutter systems, we actually use screws, and there's brackets that are used as well, instead of just a simple nail that actually attaches them to the house.
Okay. So we're just basically, when it comes to roofing, we obviously know we need a roof, and the purpose of that is to let the water drain away from the house. And now I have allowed it to not drain, right? I mean, basically that's what you're saying, and that's what's causing that buildup now, and it's dripping because it's pooling and okay.
Yeah, and especially if the gutters are tipped, because those nails are pulling out. If the gutter's tipped, then you don't have that sloping to have the water rush over to the downspouts instead. So it's an age thing, you know, as those spikes work their way out, because it's just a simple nail, and just from, you know, freezing and thawing and weight and that type of stuff that goes in the gutters, that's what causes that. So that's why, again, why we do screws now, because those screws aren't going to work their way out.
Okay.
So
that's what, so in gravity and time, right? Just with anything, it just wears down over time.
Yep, exactly. So, and now there's seamless gutters. You know, you can see you have little seams, there's little brackets. So now they're all seamless gutters.
I can see there's like patch.
Yeah.
Because obviously anywhere there's a patch, that's going to form a weakness over time.
Potentially, yep, it will.
Okay.
Yep. So
very good.
Much better systems. And some gutters, really old gutters, are only 4 inches wide. The standard now is 5, but you can get even a 6 inch. So if you have areas that, you know, sometimes on larger homes or that have really big slopes, there's a lot of water that rushes off there. So if you go with a bigger gutter, a 6 inch gutter, you're going to hold a lot more water, and that's less that will come off of the house.
Okay. Okay, and it's still, I mean, at some point it's still going to come out the downspout, but just maybe in a slower fashion, not gushing.
Yeah, not
when
gushing.
More water is coming.
Correct.
Which alleviates some of the pressure, maybe.
Yeah, well, pressure and then the potential of overflowing. So even if you have a smaller gutter and it's a newer gutter and it's sloped properly, if you have a ton of water that rushes into one area, that gutter gets overwhelmed, and then you can actually have water spill over the side of it.
Which is the point of the gutter, is to keep it from dripping off the house.
Correct, yeah, because long term, you know, it will actually break down and deteriorate things. So even cement will actually start to break down or settle or crack from continuous water going onto it. So, you know, it's a maintenance thing so that you don't ruin everything else because of that water dripping. Very
good. Yeah. I remember as a kid, the big icicles, and now we don't see that as often, mostly due to the gutter systems.
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes. Yep.
So those are two big maintenance things I've learned today then, about getting that water off the roof and then away from the house.
Correct.
To keep it from damaging.
Yep.
Very good. Well, that's what we're here about. So thank you so much. Yeah. I'm curious, what sets you guys apart? Because there are, I mean, I hate to be honest about this, but there's a lot of roofing companies.
Oh, there are. Yeah.
So tell me what makes you guys different than the rest.
So the biggest thing is number one, we don't subcontract out our crews. So a lot of companies do that. We do not do that. All of our guys work for us. We always have a foreman that's there on site every single job, running the crew, running the project. We actually have a system that we use. It's called our Project Butler. So what we do is we take a bunch of photos throughout the process, and as we're doing that, we send that and share that with our homeowners. So they kind of get live updates of the progress of the job and know kind of where things are. We try and make it real time. It's not always exactly in real time, but we do that. And then also our warranty. Not very many people can offer the same warranty that we do. So there's always 3 parts to every single warranty out there. You got labor, material, and workmanship. So we offer a 50-year labor or 50-year material warranty that comes with this. And this is a non-prorated warranty, and it is transferable, one-time transferable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So if someone does sell the home, then that warranty stays with the home one time.
Correct, one time.
Up to 50 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, because that's telling me a lot of things about the maintenance of my home. If I'm buying it for my own purpose and I'm keeping the home, I'm planning to stay here, then I know I'm going to want your roof because I'm going to have it covered, right? But it also gives me a lot of selling power if I can transfer that warranty to the next buyer.
Exactly.
That really puts me apart as a homeowner in the market.
Yeah.
So that's two really big deals.
Yeah.
Plus that warranty and just the safety and satisfaction of your own mind that you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Yep. And that's the thing, is the transferability. Most people either aren't going to live that long, right? Or they won't live in the same house for that long.
Right.
So that's why that makes a big difference, is having that being a transferable warranty.
Well, and I always tell my clients, we have to do a due diligence period where we say what we've done. A homeowner needs to tell them we've replaced the roof or what have we, but that would be a really big deal as part of even the listing. Hey, we have a transferable roof warranty.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the major operating systems of the home. The roof, the furnace, the water heater. That's what everybody wants to know about. And then if there's AC, obviously, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things, and what we pride ourselves on is that we keep up so that this is a warranty that we can continue to offer. And again, it's also backed by the manufacturer. So if we went out of business, people are still going to have a valid warranty. Hopefully we never do.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I don't see that happening the way you guys have your business set up, but it's nice to know that, again, that's a backup should it need be.
Correct. Yep. We have larger crews as well.
Oh, okay.
So typically most roofs are a one-day install.
Oh, that's incredible. And that includes removal of the old roof and putting a new one in one day.
One day.
And I guess dependent on the size of the home, or like, do you come across like some really big ones? Obviously, there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say the standard, kind of average sized roof, it's a one-day install.
That's pretty impressive.
A lot of people really like that. A lot of people don't believe it, but when they see it happen, they're like, oh my gosh, these guys did it. Yeah, it really happened. Yeah.
Well, and then tell me a little bit, like today we're having rain. How do you guys deal with weather? Like, is there a better time of the year to do that than others?
Yeah, I mean, there is somewhat of a little bit of an old wives' tale that you always want it warm to do that. You do, because of some of the tar aspects that's in the shingles, but we do re-roof from March until December every single year. So, and we don't have problems doing that. So I would say, obviously, summer is super hot, I would say fall and spring are actually really good times to redo your roof. Okay.
Well, if you were talking to someone who was going to buy or sell a home, what's the one thing you wish they knew about your industry?
I would say not all roofs are created equally.
Okay.
A lot of people, you just will kind of pull up to a house maybe that you're potentially buying, right? You'll look at the roof and you'll think that it looks good. Well, there's so much more aspects to the roof besides just it looking good.
Right.
There's a lot of different, sealants that need to be used and flashing that needs to be used. And a shingle from the ground versus up on top of the roof can look completely different. I've done that myself. I pulled up to a house and I'm like, oh, why are they calling me? This, this roof looks good. And then I get up there and I actually find that it's actually not as good as condition as what it looks like from the ground. So that makes a big difference of, always have a professional at least look at the roof.
There is a part of the home ownership when you're purchasing that you can do inspection. And so I've had you guys come out and do an inspection on a roof before for us. And we were able to use that to negotiate some money off for my client who was buying the home. In this market, that was a pretty big deal. So I'm glad you guys do that, but that's kind of what you're talking about. If I'm buying my home, if there's any question, have someone come look at it, at least to say yeah or no. Yeah. Kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Very good.
That way you get a full understanding of what you're going into, because it's sad when people purchase a new home not knowing these things, and then next rainstorm they have a leak, you know, and it's because the whole roof needs to be replaced instead of a simple patch. So better off to always have a professional look at it.
All right, Nick, thank you so much for your time. It has been, I've learned so much. So I appreciate you taking the time to come out. If you guys want to get a hold of Nick, look in the descriptions below. I'll make sure to have his contact information because as you can see, he's a great guy. I've worked with you in the past and you guys have done stellar work. So I appreciate that. And I look forward to hopefully working with you again soon.
Of course, yeah.
We may have to get you out. We're doing the savings up thing and we're close.
Okay.
So as soon as we have our savings, we'll have you out here to this house and get it fixed up.
I'd love to help you out.
Okay,
for sure.
very good. Thank you.